A timeline and history of blockchain technology. Riding the back of volatile cryptocurrencies, blockchain's trek has been raucous since 2009, but the technology's roots are much deeper and applications much richer than Bitcoin. Although the first use of blockchain technology, the Bitcoin cryptocurrency, was released in 2009, the technology's origins may be traced back several decades earlier. Many of the technologies that currently make up blockchain were developed long before Bitcoin became popular. Still, for better or worse, most people associate blockchain with Bitcoin. Following Bitcoin's launch, the blockchain gained a reputation similar to the Wild West during the exuberant and wild years that followed. Due to its decentralized, peer-to-peer, P2P architecture, which made it appear too dangerous for use in commerce, almost anybody may participate in the process. When a growing open-source community started creating full business systems in 2016, that began to change. Since then, despite the occasionally alarming headlines around cryptocurrencies, the technology has taken on a life of its own and attracted interest from a wide range of sources. Blockchain technology is being researched and used by enterprises, governments, and other organizations to fulfill purposes unrelated to virtual money. Blockchain provides security, immutability, traceability, and transparency across a distributed network, making it well suited for use cases that have grown more challenging to support and protect with traditional infrastructures in the face of escalating cyber threats. What is a blockchain? Blockchain is a kind of database that records transactions in a public ledger without requiring verification from a third party. Distributed on a peer-to-peer network, it is made up of data chunks that are joined to create an unbroken chain of unchangeable records. To prevent a single point of failure, every computer connected to the network keeps a copy of the ledger. Blocks are tamper-proof, permanent, and added in a consecutive order. A blockchain begins with a first block that contains the first transactions. This block is commonly called the Genesis block. Based on the block's timestamp, an alphanumeric string known as a hash is also assigned to it. Sequentially, blocks are added to the chain. Each block links the others together by generating its own hash using the previous block's hash. Consensus is a computational technique used by blockchain to verify a block's validity before adding it to the chain. The majority of the blockchain network's nodes must concur at the hash of the most recent block was computed accurately in order for this procedure to proceed. The distributed ledger's consensus assures that every copy is in the same condition. In the beginning, blockchain supported Bitcoin by offering a distributed public ledger, which allowed transactions to be recorded in a trustless environment without requiring a central authority to build trust. Transactions were not only more effective, but third-party verification's usual fees were also removed. When handling distributed transactions, blockchain also offered more security, traceability, and transparency than traditional methods. The foundational elements of blockchain history. Despite the fact that blockchain technology is relatively new, its applications are numerous and constantly expanding, and its effect is enormous today. Among the significant advancements in blockchain technology over the years are some of the followings. Early players in the pre-blockchain world included Merkle and his tree, Chaum and digital currency, Haber and timestamping, Dwork and proof of work, Black and Hashcash, and Finney with reusable proof of work. The idea of cryptocurrencies and blockchain was first introduced under the purported pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Soon after, the first Bitcoin transaction was made by Nakamoto, a Bitcoin exchange was set up, and a programmer exchanged 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. The price of Bitcoin rose from pennies to tens of thousands of dollars during a period marred by scandals, bankruptcies, shutdowns, arrests, and frauds. As Ethereum, a decentralized blockchain platform, grew to become one of the most popular uses of blockchain technology and unlocked a plethora of commercial applications beyond cryptocurrencies, blockchain began to gradually break away from Bitcoin. And supported by initiatives from companies like Walmart and Amazon, as well as AI, IoT, non-fungible tokens, NFTs, decentralized finance, and smart contracts, blockchain has earned credibility as a secure, workable substitute for conventional corporate and personal transaction processes. 1979, the Merkle tree, so named in honor of mathematician and computer scientist Ralph Merkle, is one of the earliest pre-blockchain technologies. In his Stanford University doctoral thesis, he presented a method for digital signatures and public key distribution known as tree authentication. In the end, Merkle patented this concept as a way to offer digital signatures. An individual record verification data structure is offered by the Merkle tree. 1982, David Chaum described a vault system in his doctoral dissertation at the University of California, Berkeley. It is intended to let mutually suspicious groups construct, maintain, and trust computer systems. This system had most of the components that make up a blockchain. In addition, Chaum founded DigiCash in 1989 and is credited with creating digital currency. 1991, to stop users from backdating or forward-dating electronic documents, Stuart Haber and W. Scott Stornetta released a guide on timestamping digital documents. The intention was to preserve the document's total confidentiality without necessitating the retention of records by a timestamping service. Merkle trees were added to the architecture by Haber and Stornetta, allowing several document certificates to coexist on a single block. 1993, in an article by Cynthia Dwork and Moni Nair, the original ideas behind the proof-of-work concept were presented as a computational technique for combating junk mail, in particular, and controlling access to a shared resource, in general. 1994. Nick Szabo, an American computer scientist, initially proposed smart contracts in mid-1994. 1996. Nick Szabo invented smart contracts in 1996. The best current implementations of the smart contract are Ethereum and EOS. Keeping promises with respect to other promises is the basis of smart contracts. These digital contracts are implemented within computer networks. 1997. Hashcash, a proof-of-work algorithm with denial-of-service defenses, was introduced by Adam Black. 1998. Computer scientist Nick Szabo works on BitGold, a decentralized digital currency. With BitGold, Szabo was inches away from inventing Bitcoin. 1999. The term proof of work was published by Marcus Jacobson and Ari Jules. Additionally, the now-defunct peer-to-peer file sharing program Napster contributed to the P2P network's popularity. Because Napster relied on a centralized server, some claimed that it was not a true P2P network. However, the service helped revitalize the P2P network by enabling the development of a distributed system that could take advantage of thousands of computers' worth of processing and storage power. 2000. The notion of cryptographically secured chains was first presented by Stefan Konst in his article, Secure Log Files Based on Cryptographically Concatenated Entries. Modern blockchain models are based on his approach, which demonstrated that chain entries may be authenticated by tracing their origin back to the Genesis block. 2004. Reusable proof of work was first proposed by Hal Finney as a way to trade an RSA-signed token for a non-exchangeable, or non-fungible, Hashcash token. These days, the proof-of-work method is essential to Bitcoin mining. Ethereum switched to the proof-of-stake protocol in order to secure a network using a fraction of the energy that proof-of-work requires. Proof-of-work is the technology behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Litecoin.
2008. Thought to be a pseudonym used by a single person or group of people, Satoshi Nakamoto contributed to the creation of the original Bitcoin software and released a white paper outlining the idea of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. The white paper states that blockchain technology would enable safe peer-to-peer involvement of governments or banks. Although Nakamoto's true identity is still unknown, there are plenty of possibilities to explain him. The previous 3 decades' technology and ideas served as the foundation for the introduction and development of the Bitcoin or blockchain architecture. In addition, Nakamoto's design introduced the idea of a chain of blocks, which allowed for the addition of blocks without the need for a third party to certify them. An electronic coin, according to Nakamoto, is a chain of digital signatures, whereby each owner passes the coin on to the subsequent owner by digitally signing a hash of the previous transaction and the public key of the next owner and adding these to the end of the coin. 2009. During the Great Recession, when the government injected a lot of money into the economy, cryptocurrency was introduced. At that time, Bitcoin was just worth a cent. The blockchain concept was validated by Nakamoto, who mined the first block of Bitcoin. The block, dubbed the Genesis block or Block 0, has 50 Bitcoin in it. Bitcoin v0.1 was made available as open-source software on SourceForge by its creator, Nakamoto. GitHub is now home to Bitcoin. When Nakamoto paid 10 Bitcoin to Hal Finney in Block 170, it was the first transaction ever made on the platform. For Bitcoin developers, the Internet Relay Chat text-based instant messaging system's Bitcoin Dev channel was established. People could now trade paper money for Bitcoin thanks to the establishment of the first Bitcoin exchange, Bitcoin Market. In order to exchange news and information about Bitcoin, Nakamoto started the Bitcoin Talk forum. In keeping with the idea that cryptocurrencies are a form of limited edition money, Nakamoto established a mechanism that limits the total amount of Bitcoin that may be mined to 21 million. 2010. When Laszlo Hanyecz, a programmer, spent 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 Papa John's pizzas that were delivered on May 22, Bitcoin made history. Back then, the 2 pizzas were worth roughly $40. At the current Bitcoin price, that transaction would be worth almost $260 million. Not too long afterward, Tokyo-based Bitcoin exchange MTGOX was established by programmer Jed McCaleb. MTGOX was an abbreviation for Magic, the Gathering online exchange, which was a fantasy card game leftover. Over 70% of all Bitcoin transactions were handled by MTGOX at its height. However, the reputation of Bitcoin was damaged in August when a hacker took advantage of a flaw in the blockchain coding to create more than 184 billion Bitcoin in block 74,638. Nakamoto released an updated version. 2011. A quarter of the 21 million Bitcoins were already in mining. Early in February, 1 Bitcoin was worth the same as $1. McCaleb sold MTGOX to Mark Karpelès shortly afterward. The Bitcoin then quickly attained parity with the euro and the British pound sterling. Bitcoin donations are now being accepted by WikiLeaks. But MTGOX was breached, and Bitcoin was pilfered, leading to a fictitious decline in value and the stoppage of trade. One of the original Bitcoin spin-offs, Litecoin, was introduced in October and is regarded as the original alternative cryptocurrency. 2012. The interest in virtual currency grew. The price of Bitcoin fluctuated throughout the year, although it stayed around $5 for the most part. The first issue of Bitcoin magazine, which was started by Ethereum developer Vitalik Buterin and Mihai Alisi, was released in May of that year. A few months later, in response to multiple controversies, the Bitcoin Foundation was founded with the goal of advancing Bitcoin and improving public opinion of cryptocurrencies. Following the founding of OpenCoin by McCaleb and Chris Larsen, the Ripple transaction protocol for real-time payments and currency exchanges was developed. In its initial crowd-funded seed round, Coinbase raised over $600,000, paving the road for it to become one of the leading Bitcoin exchanges. And now we reached the end of this video. Stay tuned for next part of this video. Do follow us for regular updates of blockchain technology. To become a blockchain pro, join our course. For more information visit www.bbe.academy.